Hey, welcome to Fan Post Radio. We're here at Otakon with real people. I'm Kestrel, and we have Cain.
Hello.
And DJ.
Hey, I'm here.
Yeah, so we're just shooting the shit after midnight on Saturday night, 3 hours before DJ has to fly back home.
Hooray!
Yeah.
That's not fun.
It's weird that the con closes at midnight now. Yeah, they close it because they do like an overnight cleaning.
Oh.
So normally 18 plus stuff goes until like 3 in the morning.
Right.
So they're showing like porn at 9 o'clock.
I did notice there was a lot of 18 plus stuff. And like,
it is really too early.
I mean, so we went to a porn panel, Manga Gamer, and that was 7 p.m.
Yeah.
7:30?
7:30.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was...
Wow, that didn't even click in my head until you said that just now. That's weird.
Perhaps is it because you work on Arrow Day all hours
You know, yeah, I'm immune to porn at this point.
Yeah.
Like, it's just normal content to me. So it's like, it made complete sense that it was 7:30 and everyone was gathering around to watch boobs.
Well, it just makes it weird because I'm used to coming out of like a porn panel, especially if you're just watching hentai and there's like other adults and you feel like you've had a good time and it's funny, and instead you walk out and there's like a mom and child in front of you.
It's weird.
And you want to avert your eyes, like don't look at me.
Yeah, when you walk out of a bunch of dark elves getting light outside, it's something very surreal about that.
Yeah, but I understand why they would do it, because they wanted to clean, the whole place, and then I don't know if you saw the signs, but they like coated the whole place in like an antimicrobial shield, and they said don't touch the surfaces if you can help it. It's non-toxic. Maybe.
Maybe. Okay. What? That's better than definitely. So.
What if it was just a big like caution sign? It's like don't touch anything when you're in here. Like don't touch a single thing.
I mean, that's how most people are acting, though. Well, hopefully acting, because I've been fucking weird about touching anything.
Yeah.
So I was the juice king.
What does that mean, Cain?
With the hand sanitizer. I had bottles in my pockets, and every time we touched something or came in out of a room, I was like, "Who wants the juice?" And I was
I did that at dinner tonight.
Yeah, I wasn't as good about that.
Trusty bottle right here.
Normally
I love hand sanitizer. I've discovered my love for hand sanitizer over the course of this pandemic.
Normally I would not be as good about it, but my wife was like, she packed me a kit with like 60 bottles and then like hand sanitizer, wipes, and extra masks, and she was texting me like every 15 minutes, like, "Are you using the kit? Are you using the kit?" Yes. In fact, I've run out of hand sanitizer at this point. But yeah, I was pleasantly surprised by like the good mask wearing.
Yeah.
I was expecting a lot more like masks on chins.
Right.
Everyone had them on basically the whole weekend.
Yeah, and I didn't see one person like trying to fight people about it.
I saw one.
Oh, you did?
Really?
Yeah, but he looks like the exact kind of person that would do that.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's still really good, because 1 out of, fucking couple thousand at least. I'm terrible with numbers.
I think it was 10,000. That was the number I heard, maybe?
Was there actually a number already?
I don't know, I heard it somewhere.
Okay.
So it's in my head.
All right.
Someone said it, so that's more than I have to go off.
I would definitely guess somewhere from 10,000 to 20,000. Because like usually it's been hovering around 25, I think, for the past few years. And it's definitely lower than that this year, but like, yeah, shit was packed.
This is a good, like a comfortable attendance rate, I feel. And this is my first Otakon. I have zero experience to base this off of, but I would like it to be like this every year, and I'm sure it won't be.
And I mean, it also feels comfortable because the convention center is fucking huge.
Yeah.
Also true. I got lost several times.
Yeah.
Well, especially when panel 3 is on one street and panel
that was the thing that fucked me up. And like my first thought was like, okay, well, I don't know about the Sky Bridge yet, but I can see the other building from right here. I'll just go outside, and you can't get in to the other building from the outside, and you can't get back into the normal building from outside either. So it's just like, okay, well, I made one 30-second wrong decision, and it cost me 20 minutes.
Yeah, it can definitely be a little confusing at first, especially because if you go up near the game area when you first get in, and there's that big like colorful tube thing right next to it, that is a staircase, but they only allowed people to use that the very first year it was here, and then every year since they've cut that off, I guess because it's such a small staircase, and there were like 300 weebs trying to walk down it at once, so they just decided to cut that shit off immediately, because that was really easy to get between floors was taking that one, so you didn't have to go down 6 escalators.
Yeah, you gotta go all the way fucking around and shit now. It's bad. I don't like it.
Yeah, if you go to another one, DJ, you'd probably experience something similar, even, I think, with the increased attendance, because chances are, you know, as long as we're not all dead, that they'll relax some of the COVID stuff next year. So, like, single file lines and all that other stuff will be kind of gone away with. I think.
I feel like the COVID policies were wear masks. Like, other than that, nothing changed. There were still thousands of people on top of each other at autograph signings, and they didn't care at all.
Oh, I didn't go to any of those, so I'll take your word for that one.
Yeah, like when they had all the Demon Slayer voice actors having autographs at the same time, it was like just a sea of 1,000 people just as scrunched up as they ever would be. So, yeah, nothing really changed.
Maybe it was related to, like, whatever employees you had, like, around you, because I got yelled at a couple times for social distancing, and I was like, I can't really, like, help you there.
Yeah.
What do you want me to do?
Yeah, because I'm kind of sandwiched between people, so, like, I don't know why you're yelling at me, because what am I going to do? Like, stiff arm both people to get them out of my way, but... Yeah, the convention center is real. Like, I mean, obviously you were in there, DJ, but it's enormous. So it's kind of almost a problem in the opposite way, because they got the DC Convention Center with the hopes that they'd have the same attendance from Baltimore. Because Baltimore, I think the last year they were there, they had sold they'd sold like 125,000 memberships.
Well, 125,000 turnstile, 35,000 unique attendees.
Yeah.
And they're down to 25,000 here.
Yeah, so they're down, and I don't honestly know. I mean, this is a conversation maybe for another time. But I honestly don't know exactly what they could do anymore, because they had some pretty, like, hype-ass shit the past couple years, and people just aren't coming to it. Like, they had the Final Fantasy concert shit. They had, like, the DBZ Broly shit, like, 2 years ago that they were hyping up. Granted, the actual panel didn't happen for whatever reason. Say. But that was, like, their big thing, is, like, Broly. We brought this big Dragon Ball, like, little mini ride you could go in where you could take pictures on Dragon Balls, and they had a big Shenron hanging from the ceiling. Like, they tried to be as hype as possible, and they just can't get people to come in. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm personally okay with it as long as it keeps going. Because
it's kind of like hard right now, I imagine, because you can't get Japanese guests.
Yeah, well, this year.
Yeah, this year.
But like the past few years, you know, since they moved to DC, they've gotten like some of the most amazing Japanese guests. But yeah, unfortunately, while that's awesome and should be what everyone's excited about, you go to the autograph session and there's like 5 people in front of, you know, the creators of their favorite anime, and then 1,000 in front of the lead voice actor for it.
Yeah, I hate voice actors.
Like at least from my experience, because most of the autographs that I've gotten have probably been from American guests, but I have a handful from Japanese ones as well, and the Japanese ones were the ones that I had a lot more trouble getting. But they were also names like Lisa.
Yeah. And, pop idols, that's a little bit different. Or not idols, but
like not like a creator of like a 90s anime or something.
I guess it's not necessarily Japanese versus American, but like, you know, the really visible people like actors and
that's what guests. I think would bring more, like if you got fucking Lisa to come to Otakon, it would be a big deal.
But I mean, they got Lisa at Anime Boston, and Anime Boston is no bigger than Otakon, so.
I know the Lisa shit was really packed, though.
Yes. So. And I mean, you get really packed stuff here. It's just, you know, 25,000 fans. Yeah. Stuff's going to be packed.
My only experience with Otakon is one time during a pandemic. Right. So it's not really the best sample to pull from.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the attendance turns out to be, because, it's closer to what I'm used to than I expected.
Yeah. I was at the one Miyazaki panel that we were talking about earlier, and at the beginning, the guy asked, like, how many people have been to Otakon before, and there was a ton. And then there was, how many people is this your first Otakon? Surprisingly large amount. And it was just like, what a year to pick to be your very first one. The COVID one. Like, with no Japanese guests, with at least, like, COVID precaution signs up. The exercising of those rules seems flexible, but just such a weird year to pick as your first one. But I could definitely see a first year spike of people showing up, because it's just like they want to do anything. Right. People want to do shit. Like, it doesn't really matter what it is.
Yeah, and even people who go to conventions, like, this is the first major convention in the past year and a half. So people are going to come from all over, even if they normally wouldn't come to Otakon just for that. Makes sense.
Yeah, so if you come again, you'll probably experience something similar just from the sheer size of the convention center.
Yeah.
But yeah, I overall thought it was a pretty successful Otakon, especially given the circumstances. Like, the panels I went to were fun. The dealer room had the one person that I wanted to be there.
I did see him, and he was as advertised.
Yep.
Who? What?
The big anime man. Who
just sits in the chair?
He sits in the chair.
Hey, yep. I know exactly who you're talking about.
He sits in the chair and he sounds like King Kai.
Yeah. I like him.
It's hard not to. Yeah. It's really hard not to.
Great, yeah.
It's really hard not to because of his ability to juggle conversations while also live pricing merchandise.
He just knows everything.
Yeah, and also I don't know if I mentioned this when I was describing him. If you can't find something in stock, you can ask him and he'll tell you, and he'll tell you the cardboard box it's in. Yeah, or he'll know he won't have it either. Like, it could be anything, like just random manga volume, and he'll be like, no, I don't have that. Or, yes, fourth box from the left on the floor in the back. Like, he just knows.
He's got, like, Sherlock's mind palace.
He does. Well, it's a hidden treasure.
I guess he's local, actually. Like, I think local in the grand scheme of the United States.
East Coast.
Yeah, well, I think he's from, like, Maryland somewhere. So, like, not like he's in DC or Alexandria or whatever, but he's, local-ish to, like, East Coast. So I guess I shouldn't be too surprised that he was here, because it's not like he's flying from Chicago or some shit.
Is this the only con that you ever go to anymore?
For anime stuff, yeah. I haven't gone to Katsucon the past few years, because my wife wants to do stuff on Valentine's Day. But, and then I go to MagFest in January. I used to go to ZenkaiCon Lancaster because it was local, but I stopped going just because they didn't get a whole lot of guests I cared about, and I wasn't paying like $70 even if it was only a 10-minute drive away, because I wasn't really interested in a lot of what was going on. So yeah, this is pretty much the only one for anime stuff. I'd like to go to a couple others someday, like maybe isn't there like a big one in New York City or something?
Yeah, Anime NYC. That's going to be, basically the other one of the pandemic so far.
Yeah, so I'd like to go like there sometime just to scope it out and see what could be different. Say what could be different, what's probably just about the same in a lot of ways.
Anime NYC is interesting. It's more like Anime Expo in that it's very industry heavy. I think Crunchyroll Expo is probably like that too. So a lot more industry presence, a lot less like fan programming.
There was like barely any industry presence.
No industry here. It was really bizarre.
The
dealer's room had no industry except Discotheque. The industry panels were non-existent except Discotheque and Manga Gamer. Yeah, it's really bizarre.
Wasn't there an like Animigo? Or is that like a fan panel about it? I didn't look.
No, it was Animigo, but they're like, barely existent. Like they do a Kickstarter every few.
I don't even know who they are.
Animigo is an old American anime company, and the guy who runs it, Robert Woodhead, has started to like run a few Kickstarters and release new things.
What have they released?
They have a Riding Bean Blu-ray. You probably don't know what that is.
Nope.
It's a OVA from 1984. I want to say
it's another one of like primarily old stuff.
Yes,
studios.
Exactly. Think like Discotheque, but 1% of the volume.
Yeah, like I barely know anything Discotheque.
Right, exactly.
Well, Riding Bean is cool as shit because it's about cars in like. It's just 45 minutes of car chases and dudes shooting guns at each other, but the cars are like real and meticulously drawn. So it is like a masterclass in what drawing in 1984 like Datsun is like.
All right.
But it's cool. I found it at just one of the stands just chilling out. Now, you wanted $8, so I wasn't prepared to pay $1 per minute of anime on a disc. But I thought it was cool just because I had never seen that. And then I looked at the bottom, I was like, whoa, Animigo. Like, I had no idea they were still around. Like, I'd heard their name before, but I had no idea they were still in business, let alone making Blu-rays of all things.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I have a few Urusei Yatsura DVDs from Anime Go. Right at the beginning of DVD. I think that was them.
Okay, I know that show.
Hey, there it is. There's a connection.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think... Has the industry really ever been a huge part of Otakon? Because...
I mean, you always walk into the dealer's room and the first area is all the huge industry booths.
True, yeah. There used to be that Funimation / FYE booth.
Yeah, so weird. Like, FYE barely exists anymore, but Funimation has, like, this exclusive partnership. But yeah, huge Funimation booth, huge Crunchyroll booth, little Sentai booth.
I love the Sentai booth.
Yeah.
That's always the first place I went and I'd buy a shirt.
Oh.
Yeah, they have good shirts.
Would you count...
Yeah, I got a Sentai shirt on.
As industry, would you count the Media Blasters booth?
Media Blasters is technically the industry. They do have a booth.
They had a booth.
Yep. Another very strange kind of little corner of the industry there. But yeah, and they'd always have industry panels. Manga companies too. Viz would have a big presence. Dark Horse, a few others. Yeah, no, I mean, not as big as like Anime NYC or Anime Expo, but they would definitely have a big presence. But none of that this year.
I'd be interested to like find out why, like if it was they didn't want to come because of the pandemic, or they were scrambling just to have a convention that they just got whoever would just say yes in like a 2-day span just to try to like get people into the convention center.
But I mean, they've been working on Otakon and having it announced as something that's going to happen in person for many months at this point. So it seems like they'd be able to swing it. My guess would be, they just, I don't know, don't feel comfortable for whatever reason.
Potentially. I don't know.
It's possible.
Yeah, I mean, the dealer room definitely felt like way more empty than usual, which I can't say I'm surprised about.
Really? Because this was probably the biggest dealer's room that I've been in.
Oh, normally it's filled wall to wall, essentially.
Yeah, jeez.
Yeah, I mean, most of it is like you're seeing the same shit over and over again.
Yeah,
so eventually your eyes cross because you see another dealer like booth selling the same Eevee plushie.
Yeah, we went to like 3 booths in a row that had the same Chibi Megumin plushies, and our friend was like price matching between them all.
There was
that's what you gotta do.
Yeah.
There's the one fucking Shiro from No Game No Life figure, the really lewd one. Like 2 booths right next to each other, both had it, and there was like an $80 price difference in them. So,
oh yeah, there was a lady who had a booth when I was looking for plushes, and I found a really cute one for Emily that was a hedgehog. I asked her what the price was, and I guess if you gotta ask what the price is, can't afford it. Mm-hmm. So she walked over and she's like, "This one?" She pointed out one. Yeah, she went, "Official Japanese license, $350." Yeah, it was cute. It was big. But it
would have walked away immediately.
Oh, that's what I did. I didn't even... I kind of felt bad because I didn't even say thank you. I actually went, whoa! Turned around and walked away. I fucking booked it. I had sand because there is not a chance I was paying that for a hedgehog plushie. Jesus Christ.
One of the like 2 or 3 booths that had body pillows. The Reshikigal Dakimakura from Fate Grand Order was $400 for a fucking pillowcase. Now I've got a lot of pillowcases. I think if I like added up all of my pillowcases, it would probably get to around $400.
That thing better have been like 10,000 thread count virgin Egyptian cotton.
Yeah.
Not a virgin for long.
I saw a Gundam body pillow.
Did you?
It was just a Gundam. It was just a Gundam, and it's like its ass was pointing towards you, and they had a sticker over it. And I just want to believe there's like an exhaust port there or something that they were covering. Only wanted $60. That's it.
That's solid.
Yeah,
that's a good pillow price.
That's affordable for a sexy robot.
So I trust it's in your bag now.
Oh, yeah. That's a surprise. I'm gonna try and sneak that under the couch when I get home. I'll flip it over so you don't see it, and then when Emily's vacuuming or something, she'll pick it up and she'll just see a big robot ass in her face. No, that's one of the weirder ones I've seen. I mean, there's always tons of ones that are both serious and, you guys have probably seen them that are like parody body pillows.
Yeah.
Of shit that you're supposed to buy like ironically or as a joke or whatever, but I couldn't tell with this
It's an expensive joke.
Yeah, it is. But I mean, I was looking for Mega Man porn for 10 years.
Also true, yeah. I had a ritual of just buying a hentai grab bag from every single convention that I went to, but then I like stopped seeing them in some places. They had them here. But I didn't buy one because the tradition's dead. It was a solid tradition for 2 years, though.
Wow, man, really long running.
It really was. Most of my traditions are not traditions at all. They're things that happen once, and I say it will become a tradition, and then never capitalize on it.
I don't know if you guys noticed, because I don't know what you were looking at in the dealer's room, but some of the stuff was way more expensive this year, and I couldn't tell if it was because it was flatline COVID shit, or if they were just taking advantage of otakus. Like, Gunpla was way more expensive than it used to be. Like, a typical master grade Gunpla, which is like basically the nicest ones you can get before you get into like real heavy shit territory, are like $60 to $70 a piece. You know, lots of moving parts, intricate, several different styles of decals. They wanted $140 for a lot of them, 90 plus for even the basic ones. And I couldn't tell if they were just like, I may get Delta here, so I'm trying to make as much money as possible, or what. But some of the stuff just felt like it was really marked up more than usual, except for the discotheque booth, which was cheaper than usual.
Yeah. Apparently we have people coming to our room, so we should probably wrap this up. Anyway, I have a bunch of interviews that we're going to be stringing together in here. Or not, because maybe I shouldn't include these interviews that voice actors will want to share after a big intro where we talk about porn a bunch.
Just cut that part out.
Yeah, we should probably cut most of this intro out. Anyway, good luck, Kate.
Yeah, all right.
So enjoy the interviews if you hear any of this. And see ya. Here with Adam McArthur, voice of Yuji Itadori from Jujutsu Kaisen. Welcome, thank you for joining.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm very excited about this Otakon experience.
Yeah, it's. Have you been to any cons yet this year?
I have, actually. Last weekend, I was at a convention in Texas.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, getting things rolling here.
How big was that?
It was very small. It was like 1,500 people max. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this is we're operating on a whole new level right now. Yeah,
it's great to see. So you're pretty new to anime, so you're definitely well known for Western animation. You've done video games, you've done live action, professional martial artist, all over the place.
Yeah.
So I've heard for many years anime pays the worst, it's the hardest, it's kind of got the most limits in terms of freedom and collaboration and stuff. So what inspired you? What drew you to enter this area?
Yeah, I would say it was 100% the My Hero Academia dub. Specifically, the fight between Deku, Overhaul, and with Mirio and everything. I was watching as a fan and was like, man, these actors are just crushing it. It is like so good, and so many of those episodes I just watch and cry like a baby. And I'm like, I gotta do this. I want to do this. And so, about a year and a half ago, I talked to one of my agents and was like, hey, I would love to get an audition for My Hero Academia. And that's where it started. And then other auditions came in, and then shortly after that is when I booked the role of Yuji. And then since Yuji, I'm Ricky and Patrick, currently on Shadow's House, Funimation. I'm Kyle on the Saint's Magic Power is Omnipotent. And there's something else really amazing coming, but I'm not allowed to talk about it yet, so I'm excited.
Yeah, so, kind of going from nothing in this area of the industry to the main character of the biggest show of the past year.
Yeah.
So how has that experience been, kind of like, just seeing fan response? Because we're a pretty rabid fan base over here in the anime sphere.
Yeah, totally. It's been awesome. I mean, the fan base for Star vs. the Forces of Evil was pretty massive, even globally. So there was just, a lot of chatter online about what people liked and what people didn't like. I think the interesting thing for me is, and I already knew it going in, was like, the sub versus dub community and these like diehard anime fans. But, I don't really, it's okay. It is okay. Everyone has their opinion, and it excites me that we were able to watch something and have an opinion on it that we can express freely. So no matter what side people are on for it, I'm just happy people are watching the show, because if I remove myself from it, Jujutsu Kaisen is an amazing show, like on its own. It's amazing. So It's been awesome. I mean, the fan love is always really sweet and kind. I'm very excited to be here at Otakon so that I can meet people face to face. Obviously, coming off of a year like 2020, it's nice to have some human interaction and just chat with people. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
So obviously 99% of everything about COVID was terrible. One thing that I have noticed is that because all the voice actors have kind of started to, have to create their own workspace from home, be able to record from home, we get a lot of, cross-talent pool collaboration. So we get a lot of LA actors and Dallas dubs, vice versa. Do you think that, the fact that you're in LA dubs and Funimation dubs right off the bat is due to that? Do you think there's just more of your area doesn't matter so much anymore and they'll just pull from anywhere?
Yeah, I think, this cross-pollination was sort of a long time coming. Mm-hmm. There already is a little bit of crossover anyway.
Right.
For me, I don't know if it was pandemic caused or just right place at the right time. Both Shadow's House and The Saint's Magic Power are Omnipotent are voice directed by Caitlin Glass, who is anime legend, super sweet person. And she and I connected via social media and then in person at the My Hero Academia movie premiere. That was right before 2020. So, I think part of it is probably, with COVID and all that, everyone's sort of just opening up their eyes to different possibilities and doing things in a different way than they've done it in the past. But I also think, for anyone who's trying to do things in different areas, that networking and making friends in the community is always going to help also. So yeah, it's hard to know what exactly is the cause, but I definitely think it's probably a little bit of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that makes sense. Yeah. So you said that you were inspired to get into anime from watching My Hero Academia as a fan. Mm-hmm. What has your anime fandom been like? Because I wasn't actually aware that you were a fan before.
Yeah. What do you mean? What has it been? What is it been? A fan of stuff. What is it like to be a fan of stuff?
No. I just mean how long have you been a fan? What kind of stuff have you been into?
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. I would say. Well, probably 20-something years ago, I was in the anime club in high school.
Nice.
But I don't think I fully embraced or understood the appeal of anime until much later in life. And it was probably, 2015, 2016. I had a good friend tell me to watch Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
My favorite anime.
Yeah, understandably so. Probably mine too. One of the greatest dubs of all time. Yep. Just a good show, not a good anime. It's a good show. And then it just sort of opened my eyes to the storytelling possibilities of the genre. And so I just started consuming a bunch of other stuff. And obviously most people watch My Hero Academia. It was an easy one to get on board with, especially the first 3-4 seasons were just amazing. I'm really excited to see this next arc and where it's going. Promised Neverland was great. Yeah, there's been a bunch. Psycho Pass was really cool. Yeah, it's been fun consuming all this new genre that's been open to me.
Yeah, totally. Did you watch the second season of either of those last two shows, Promised Neverland or Psycho Pass?
I was warned about the second season of Promised Neverland. No offense to anybody listening to this if it's your favorite thing ever. I'm not opposed to watching it. I'm pretty easy to please. So maybe at some point I'll watch it. Although the way season 1 wrapped up, I was like, I liked it. I thought it was kind of good on its own. And then season 2 of Psycho Pass, no, I don't think I watched season. But there's a movie.
Yeah.
I forget which one somebody told me to avoid. Either just go straight and watch the movie.
Probably do that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Which sometimes it happens. It is interesting, how anime is created. Obviously based on the manga, but then when they run out of chapters to animate, when they sort of go off the rails or go onto their own story, what it does to them. Sometimes they're good. A lot of times it's just not quite as good, So yeah, no, I haven't watched either of those second seasons yet.
Yeah, I kind of had a similar experience in the past year. I watched all the Star Wars animated stuff, mm-hmm. which I recently found out you were also in.
Yeah, awesome.
As a pretty major character in one of those arcs.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of dips in quality and then real heights in quality throughout that franchise as well. So you just gotta take the good with the bad, and it all evens out pretty well.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, if you just think of it like, sometimes as fans we're like, we want this to be perfect. Like, oh, it's not exactly. But if you like zoom out and really think about, all right, what we're seeing, how difficult it is to get some of this stuff made sometimes. You gotta just be thankful we have it at all, because, it didn't exist until really recently.
Yeah, it's amazing. Definitely the craft involved in every piece of it, even if it's like not top-notch storytelling, just so much work and care put into it.
Yeah, and if it's not top-notch storytelling, it is a stepping stone to top-notch. So you got to appreciate the journey,
Yeah.
It's not all about the destination, people.
Yeah, like actually Clone Wars, it started off a little rough, but, by the end of it, it's like, this is the best Star Wars thing ever. It's amazing.
Yeah, so good. Clone Wars was amazing. The voice cast on that show was just like, the most elite. D. Bradley Baker, Matt Langner is amazing. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, watching The Bad Batch now, and every main character is D. Bradley Baker.
Yeah.
Incredible.
That guy's got it. He's got it going on.
I'm not seeing any of their signals. I don't know if I'm supposed to be able to see them.
There he goes. 3.
3? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess, is that I know this is an anime convention, but since, you've got a lot of work in other areas, have you been fans of, other properties you've been involved with, like Star Wars, stuff like that?
Yeah, totally. Huge Star Wars fan. Not where I know everyone's back. I feel like with Star Wars is one of those interesting properties where, if you say you're a Star Wars fan, then all of a sudden it's like, but do you know?
Right, exactly.
It's like all this stuff. So I am admittedly not at that level, but as a consumer of the media, that is Star Wars, I see everything. It's all awesome. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just fun. I recently actually went to Disneyland for the first time in a very long time, and Galaxy's Edge is there, and it is incredible. It is incredible, and I think it's one of these cool things that, if you're not a huge Star Wars fan and you go to Galaxy's Edge, it might open your eyes to the possibility of being a fan, because it's so unique. You feel like you don't even feel like you're in Disneyland anymore. It's just like, the mountains are so high around you that it just feels like you are in the Star Wars, you are in the movies. So it's pretty cool. I was a huge fan of Star vs. the Forces of Evil too. Mm-hmm. Just got on board that fandom as well. It's always interesting, when people ask are you a fan of the stuff that you're in? And I think I just love doing what I do so much that it's easy to jump on board and be a fan of it.
Right.
And it's not a cocky thing or an arrogant thing, or I am a fan of my performance. It has nothing to do with that. It's more of just it's why I said I don't care what version of JJK you watch. Mm-hmm. I just want people to watch it because it's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
And it makes sense. To give a good performance, you have to have the passion, and so that's going to make you more invested in the show anyway.
Yeah, I would 100% agree with that. Yeah.
I'm going to Disneyland for the first time ever next month, and I've got a Star Wars day planned. So yeah.
Amazing. There is still the queue to get onto the Rise of Resistance. I can 100% give you all the tips when we're done with this interview on how to make sure you get it.
Awesome. Sounds good. All right, so I think we're probably supposed to wrap it up pretty soon. Do you want to tell people where they can find you, shows they should check out that you're involved in, anything else? Yeah,
totally. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at NinjaMac, NinjaMac. You can check out The Saints Magic Powers Omnipotent right now on Funimation. You can also check out Shadow's House on Funimation. Of course, you can go back while we're waiting for the movie to come out and watch Jujutsu Kaisen on Crunchyroll. And you can hear me all the time as the voice of Disney XD as well. Just, it's not really anything to go check out, but I do tell you what's coming up next if you want to hear that. But come find me on social, say hi, and tag me in your Yuji and Sukuna fan art.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Yeah, dude. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
I am here with Kaiji Tang, anime voice actor of many characters, a couple of my favorites being Satoru Gojo from Jujutsu Kaisen, of course, everyone's favorite these days, best boy, and also Popo from Anohana, a little bit further back, a little bit more obscure.
A little sadder.
A little bit.
More tear-filled.
Yeah, but those are a couple roles that I feel like kind of broke the type that I feel like you'd been cast in for a while. There's a lot of like, really gritty, dark characters.
Yeah.
And it seems like those and like Dazai are very much on the opposite end of the spectrum, which is nice to see. So what's that experience been like, kind of, do you feel like you've been typecast? Do you feel like there's a gulf between the two, or do you run all areas of the spectrum?
Well, back in my early 20s, I think it was a lot more fitting to probably cast me as those darker, grittier characters, because, you in your early 20s, you got a lot of that, like early 20s emotion. You're always like really passionate and like angry about stuff, so it's easier to channel that stuff. But you get older, you get more perspectives on life. You're as an actor, your acting range kind of broadens a bit. So I think the curve from like the dark, gritty, like I don't want some monotone. It's just kind of like, that archetype of like the broody guy.
Right. Not a lot of levity.
Not a lot of musical range. It's just sort of in that like, I hate stuff.
Right.
So
a lot of pain.
Yeah, a lot of pain, a lot of angst.
Yeah.
But I'm very happy to move on to more lighthearted stuff. I feel like, at least as a person, that's kind of more where I am in life today. So it matches quite well.
That makes sense, yeah. Get that range of emotions. A lot of those, big roles that you've gotten, obviously when you're dubbing, you are already coming to a character that someone else has already portrayed. Interesting, in your career, you've got a lot of roles that other English voice actors have portrayed.
That's true,
Yeah, you've got, Archer, Guts, Kenshiro, Vegeta. Now Vinland Saga has this weird 2-dub situation
that is
going
weird,
on.
huh?
And then like kind of the other way with Detective Pikachu.
Right.
So what has that been like, taking on characters that are already established in English? Like, do you reference them at all? Do you just go purely on your own instincts?
Yeah, sure. So the way I see it is like, I come from a background in theater. So of course in theater you play roles that have been made famous by actors for all the time, right? Yeah. That's the way I see it too. These characters, there's no real difference between Emilia Archer and like Mark Antony from Julius Caesar. They're both roles that have to be filled by an actor. And we're in this phase where like, anime, it's not new, but it's not as old as theater, right? So we haven't had a chance to see many actors portray the same role. And as we age and as anime goes on, you're going to see, you're going to see the guy after me play Archer. You're going to see the guy after him play Archer. We're going to get that nice, perspective where it's like you don't really attach a single character to a single actor. I think that's healthy. A broad range of perspectives and performances on a specific character can give the next actor a treasure trove of research to sort of pick from. So that's very healthy in my opinion. I'm not one of those people who are like, this character's mine because I voiced him. Yeah, it's just not how I see it. Though I will go on the record and say Ryan Reynolds totally stole my job.
That's fair.
No, he was great. He was fantastic. I see it as any other sort of acting job. Even in television, classic characters get replaced by actors all the time. So it's just not something that's really sustainable to really have just one person carry the torch for the entire time.
Yeah, and I think people have, been seeing a lot more of that in really popular media these days because, all the big superhero characters have gone through a lot of actors in the past few years. And the old classics, like how many hundreds of actors have played Sherlock Holmes. Yeah. So, it totally makes sense. So another interesting thing that I've kind of noticed about your career, when I first heard of you, I was watching a little video podcast thing called Anime TV.
Yeah.
And I was like, this guy's just like an anime fan who they got on to talk about some stuff. And then I started to see your name pop up in credits, and I was like, I guess he's an actor. So how did that all go? What's your kind of anime fandom backstory, and how did it evolve into this?
Absolutely 100% anime fan, have been for basically my whole life, but also an actor, both at the same time.
Right.
So, I went to school for acting, fell in love with it in high school, went to college for it, got my degree in it, and when I was filming anime TV, that was my first or second year in Los Angeles. Right, so I was still doing commercials. I was still doing on-camera work. I was grabbing whatever I could. Basically, I went to LA with like the mindset of like, okay, I'm gonna find acting. I don't care what medium it's in. I'm just gonna go for it because I like acting. Found that podcast job. Seemed to fit really well. Seemed easy enough. They're like, hey, we'll pay you to talk about anime for an hour on this thing. Through that show, I met the director, who at the time was Tony Oliver. Tony Oliver, who is largely responsible for the Power Rangers craze in this country. Very nice man. Gave me an opportunity to come in and record for some stuff at Bang Zoom Entertainment, and it sort of just snowballed from there. I think like 4 years into it, I was like, okay, maybe I should actually sit down and make a demo and take a swing at this thing, because my foot's in the door. It doesn't seem to be closing through my foot. Guess we'll take a shot. I guess I'm here now. So it worked out pretty okay.
Yeah, it seemed like, from my perspective, this may be very skewed, but it seemed like, you had been putting in the work, kind of getting smaller roles here and there for a few years or so, and then, there was some sort of breakthrough, and you had a bunch of really big roles, and you've kind of been, on that ever since. Do you feel like, would you characterize it that way at all? Was there a breakthrough role?
Yeah, I mean, I think the trajectory of me doing voiceover is like the classic trajectory where, like you said, you start off doing the bit roles because, when you're an actor and you go to LA, everyone wants to be in the big stuff immediately, but no one wants to recognize that they're probably not ready for it. I certainly was not, Most actors who start off are not. There are certain exceptions who, like kids who have been enrolled in like these acting classes since they were little, and they're like master thespians by age 15 or 16, That was certainly not me. I very much appreciate the time and opportunities I was given to sort of sharpen my tool set a bit. Before being able to step into some of the bigger stuff they trusted me with. And it really is, at the end of the day, it's a matter of trust between like the client and the performer. So they need someone who they can reliably not worry about to carry their product forward. So generally they'll look for more seasoned or more experienced talent. So I completely understand, and I'm happy with it. I'm happy with that little trajectory curve. Mm-hmm.
Do you see like one role as being like the turning point, or was there just a few?
Turning point. I mean, I guess the first biggest character was probably Emmy Archer. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think before that if there was something like groundbreaking. Maybe Sumugu Kinagase from Kill la Kill. Who knows?
Yeah. Definitely the first two that I had heard like big roles from you.
Yeah. So maybe around there, maybe the studio started being like, okay, maybe we can actually have him do some stuff.
All right, I think I'm getting to wrap it up.
Oh no.
So let people know where they can find you and anything that you want them to be checking out.
Sure. Yeah, you guys can find me on both Twitter and the TikToks at Kaiji Tang. Hope to see you on there. I usually interact with fans fairly often, so yeah. Please poke me there.
And anything that you want them to check out you've been working on?
Yeah, of course. So right now, as we're recording this interview, it's EVO weekend. You can check me out as Faust from Guilty Gear Strive, out right now. Give it a shot. It's a really good game.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much.
Here with Anne Yatco, the voice of Nobara Kugisaki from Jujutsu Kaisen, and thanks for joining.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
How's it been going? This is your first convention, is that right?
This is my first convention as a guest. It has been very cool. I realize it's many people's first conventions back, from this pandemic. I've been touched by how warm and how welcoming everyone has been, and just the energy in this convention center has been really, really cool. Yeah, so I'm spoiled.
Yeah, I have to imagine it's quite the trial by fire to go from not being at any conventions to the first big convention back after a year and a half.
Yeah.
Probably tens of thousands of people still, and you're the female lead in the biggest show of the past year. So, yeah.
It's crazy.
I can imagine it's crazy. So let's talk about that. You know, you've had roles throughout anime for the past 5 years or so. And now you've got this huge role, and she's a really fascinating character. When I first saw her, I wasn't really sure what to make of her, and I realized it's because she's just such a complex character. She's not like your typical like shonen female lead.
Oh yeah.
You know, she's strong in every way, but she's got her goofy girly side. She's abrasive, but she's sincere with her friends, and she's got just this really powerful badass stance, but she's also kind of an idiot, so she's really lovable. So how did you approach all those aspects of her and balancing the performance?
You've said it beautifully. That's exactly what I love about her. I love that she rolls in episode 3 and she immediately insults her new classmates. The 2 people she's about to be around 24/7, she just insults them right to their face. And I realized, like, I'm sure there were probably people who watched the anime who were like, who is this girl? She's just being mean to the main character right off the bat. But I think having someone just come in and do that is so cool, because then she immediately, like within that same episode, shows you about 15 other different sides to herself, and shows that she'll still, like, she'll go to bat for those two, you know, without batting an eyelash. And I've already forgotten what your question initially was.
Just like, how you approached all those aspects of her character and performing.
Yeah, it's cool to be able to do a character that moves through so many modes and emotions and emotions, you know, from 0 to 60 so quick. And I am mercurial like that. My husband can tell you. But so it's fun to be able to tap into that side of myself where I am I will go from super serious 1 second to super weird and goofy in a heartbeat. And so that was inside of me all along. That part was easy and super fun.
I feel like, you know, this is probably a pretty big turning point in your career, just a character on this level. How did you react to that, and how has it kind of changed your career ever since? Oh,
for sure. So when I got the audition for Nobara, I didn't yet know about the property. I did my homework, I researched it, I Wikipedia'd it, and then the first 3 episodes of the set were already out on Crunchyroll. So I watched them just to get a feel for the tone of the series and to see if my character had shown up yet, and she had. And I was struck. I was struck by like the way they wanted to tell the story, because that first episode, it starts off very slow because it's just following like it seems like a slice of life for a very long time in the episode until it's not. And then when Nobara shows up, I was like, oh, yeah, that's a character that speaks to me. I want to audition for that. So I was super excited to put that audition together and to get the phone call that I booked it. I was honestly just happy that I booked something. I didn't yet know that show was going to be as big as it has turned out to be. So I have been riding a wild roller coaster for the past, how many months has it been now? 9, 10 month
Probably something like that.
Something like that. 11 months. And I'm just grateful. I'm really, really grateful. And it was part, for my career, part of like the beginning of like the wave of like what my current trajectory is for voiceover, which is cool. And I'm very blessed and very lucky, and I thank Nobara Kugisaki every day.
Yeah, so you know, I've seen a few of your panels this weekend, and I've heard you know, a bit of this story each time, so you're probably sick of telling it, but I do find it really fascinating how, you know, your professional life before getting into voice acting or during it in the early stages.
Oh, sure.
So yeah, I'd just like to hear more about that.
Yeah, let me take you through it again. So, you know, I come from a Filipino family, and my parents wanted me to live secure. You know, they wanted me to be able to have like a stable, good profession, so I was going to be a doctor. And so I decided for whatever reason, to major in biomedical engineering because I thought, not only can I be pre-med, but also if I wanted to become an engineer instead, that's also a really high-paying job. My parents will be happy. And then when I got to campus, Marquette University, I went to the theater school just to be like, hey, what plays are happening? I like plays. I did plays in high school. And then I accidentally somehow got cast in someone's senior thesis as like a walk-on role. And then like that was the bug. I got it. So then I was just auditioning for plays left and right. I essentially double majored without actually double majoring because I didn't have the time to do core credits for a whole other college. And my acting mentor told me to audition for grad school, so I did, and I got into Cal Arts and got my MFA after getting a bachelor's in biomedical engineering, and then realized I had to pay off my student loans. So then I got a job using my first degree as a forensic scientist, which I did for like 7.5 years. But that whole time I was doing theater, I was taking voiceover classes. I booked some of my first voiceover roles, a couple of video games. Eventually I like booked my first anime, which was Knights of Sidonia. I did like, additional voices. And I started like building that resume slowly over several years because I was so busy with a full-time job. It was a career. I didn't have the time or the mental capacity to figure out like how do I further the voiceover career, like all that stuff. And it wasn't my focus for a very long time until after I decided to leave my day job. And that was finally when I kind of had the mental capacity to be able to be like, oh, okay, I know how I'm going to do it. Taking some workshops, building my little community of like friends and voiceover actors that like we can pull each other up, cheer each other on, and then eventually I found my way to my agent, and then eventually I found Nobara Kugisaki. Like I'm sorry I sped up the end of it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Had you had much exposure to anime before working in it?
When I was a kid, I watched Sailor Moon, I watched Dragon Ball Z. That was the stuff that played on TV after school, right?
Yeah.
So like that's what I knew. And then like I had seen Spirited Away. Like that was kind of like growing up, like that was my understanding of anime. I enjoyed it, and I just didn't have access to a lot of it. But I knew that like it was cool. No one else around me that I knew, seemed to be into it. So I was like, okay, well, I kind of let it fall to the wayside. And then I picked it back up again in my mid-20s. Basically right around the time I started like working in it. And by now I have like fully immersed myself. I'm a fan, and I'm a huge fan of JJK.
Do you watch anything like, before you get auditions or anything? Are you just like fans of things, in Japanese or anything?
Oh wait, say that again?
Have you been like a fan of any properties that you haven't been involved with?
Oh, so many. Are you kidding me? I was just complimenting the lovely girl outside on her fruits basket. Her fruits basket.
So good.
It's so good. Sometimes I just want to watch an anime and cry.
Yep.
That's all.
Have you come across any scenarios where either you were already familiar with the property when you got the auditions, or you were disappointed that you didn't really get a chance to be involved?
Oh no! When I got a phone call or when I got the email asking if I wanted to be in Beastar Season 2, I was like, yeah, I do. Season 1 was crazy. I want to be in this show.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's cool with the shows that have multiple seasons that you can be a fan of one season and the next one comes around.
Yeah, and then sometimes you're lucky and you get asked to be in the second season.
Yeah, that's really cool. We're seeing a lot in, the pandemic era of people not really being limited to the area that they live in terms of how they work, because some people have to work remotely anyway. Have you been trying to network to see if you could be in dubs from all over the country?
Heck yeah, and I think the same is happening for a lot of actors everywhere, and you're seeing casts that are some from LA, some from New York, some from Texas, and I think that's so cool because it mixes up the pool. So you don't hear the same set of sounds each time, even though we're all just working,
right.
But it's cool to be able to mix and match like that. I love it.
That's 10 minutes?
That's 10 minutes.
Okay.
I know, fast.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us.
Nice to meet you.
Yes. it's just me this time, signing off. Thanks to everyone for joining me. Make sure to find Anne Yatco online and find her work, since she didn't get a chance to plug it at the end. Thanks for everyone who was online, including, or on the podcast, including the people who were in person in my room for the first time. And thanks to everyone who listened. Thanks to Otakon for having us and letting us talk to some guests, as well as the guests for letting us talk to them. And yeah, you can find us on anywhere you get podcasts. Subscribe, rate, and review. We're on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Alexa, iHeartRadio, FandomPost.com. And you can find us on Twitter and Facebook at Fandom Post Radio, and get in contact with us via email, fandompostradio@gmail.com. Yeah, thanks for listening. Join us next time when we will finally have something to say about this summer season that's almost halfway over now. See ya.